Driving, twisting, turning sideways. I can't take this pressure no more. Gotta love like a hurricane. And I got love. I've got this love. I've got my hurricane. Driving, twisting, turning sideways. I can't take this pressure no more. Gotta love like a hurricane. Just give me the feeling, push my motor every day. Gospel of a throttle, push my engine all the way. Singing na 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 na. Driving, twisting, turning sideways. I can take this pressure no more. Gotta love like a hurricane. And I gotta love. I got this love. I got my hurricane. Catch me if I'm speeding, push my motor every day. Hustle up and muscle, push my engine all the way. Everybody na 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 na. Driving, twisting, turning sideways. I can't take this pressure no more. Gotta love like a hurricane. And I got love. I've got this love. I've got my hurricane. Driving, twisting, turning sideways. I can't take this pressure no more. Gotta love like a hurricane. And I gotta love. I got this love. I got my
Everybody ready, set, go. Rev it up and let's roll. There's a party in the fast lane. Got my hands on the wheel and I'm flying. Heartbeat loud as the thunder rolls. Riding in on the stampede of lightning. I'm bringing back the sunshine.
Welcome back to YouTube here on the channel for the Late Model Stock Weekly Series. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Murphy, here at America's most famous short track here at Hickory Motor Speedway, also known as the birthplace of NASCAR Stars. And here tonight, Hickory is going to play host to the 5th round of the regular season for the Late Model Stock Weekly Series. And it's been an interesting one through the first 4 weeks here in the league and in the series. We've had 3 different winners so far here in 2024 and in Season 2. And it's been really fun to watch a lot of these drivers come into their own. A couple of new faces showing themselves to possibly be a threat for the title. But we'll jump into that in just a moment. So we're here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Obviously, we're here on the simulator. But as things go on, we're going to go ahead and give you a little bit of track history here for Hickory Motor Speedway. This track opened 73 years ago. This is a bit of an oldie back in 1951. And like most short tracks that have been around for this long, it started out as a dirt track, half-mile short track on dirt. And then it came to be known and to be seen in the configuration that we know it today. It took it about 20 years to get to that point, and by 1970 it was configured to the current layout. It had been converted to asphalt by that point, but 1970 was when we finally got this 3/8 mile configuration that everyone knows and loves to this day and has cherished for the last 53, 54 or so years here in North Carolina. But there, just like we said, there's going to be a lot of challenges that these drivers are going to have to face as they take on Hickory tonight. And there's plenty of things to note about this racetrack, but what's going to be most important, I believe, is looking at how we got here. What has it taken for us to get through the first 4 weeks of the season? As now we're going to take a nice little recap and look at what's brought us here through the first 4 races. Obviously, we started all the way back at North Wilkesboro Speedway. That was a really fun one to watch. A lot of cautions, more so than I think many would have anticipated, but it started off nice and clean. We had almost 30-lap run at the start of the race before David Lux there in the 104 car would dive bomb it in there, take out Aiden Walker, bring out our first caution of the day. But the last 30 or so laps saw some of the best racing we have ever seen throughout the series. You had Jaden Kurtasi, Tyler Curley splitting it 3 wide off a restart, jumping up to the lead while all these guys on older tires kind of wore themselves out and fought up there in the front, allowed Tyler Curley to break through on a little bit fresher Hoosiers, and he ended up taking home the first win of Season 2 there in his number 4 newly assembled Toyota Camry there for TJC Racing. Then we took a little trip out west, not super far, but up to Music City in Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. And this race had a lot of drama of its own. Plenty of cautions, plenty of controversy, especially off the start. There was almost a massive wreck off turn 2, but everybody kept it straight. Plenty of cautions that kind of reigned true there as well at the fairgrounds. But once again, Austin Cook brings home the checkered flag, last season's champion, and ends up making it a back-to-back wins for TJC Racing. After that, we head back east to the Carolinas, where we ventured to Myrtle Beach Speedway, one of those tracks here on the iRacing service that grants some of these lost speedways that are no longer around, grants us the ability to race them. And it saw arguably some of the biggest wrecks. Something about Myrtle Beach and producing big crashes just kind of seems to be standard for that racetrack. But newcomer Jacob York, after dominating, showing his speed early on in the week during practice sessions, ended up bringing home the checkered flag for his first win. And then last week, if you guys were here for the first ever race at Concord in the series, to a lot of people's surprise, not so much for me, but I feel like to a lot of people's surprise, Jacob York dominated yet again at Concord, and in his first 2 starts, not only this year, but in the series ever, has won in both of those starts. So Jacob York comes into this race tonight with an opportunity to three-peat, something I believe that I don't think has ever been done in the Late Model Stock Weekly Series through all of Season 1 or so far here through Season 2. So we're going to see if Jacob York can get that done tonight, and he's going to be one of those drivers to watch as we get set going. But we'll talk about some of those drivers to watch here in the last 10 minutes of practice, but also as we talked about some of the track history, let's go ahead and give you a little bit of a unique layout and an understanding of this racetrack as Jacob York there in his number 97 Ford Mustang gets set to try to put down some hot laps as he pulls off the pit lane in that Hoiston River Machine Mustang. And as he comes through the banking there in turns 3 and 4 down to the start-finish line, that's 12 degrees of banking on that end of the racetrack in turns 3 and 4. As he comes on down to the straightaways, both front and back straightaways feature 8 degrees of banking. And then here, as we see York hit the start-finish line and dive it down to turns 1 and 2. That's going to be faced with just a little bit of a difference between turns 3 and 4 with 14 degrees of banking. It's a little bit higher there for the drivers, so there's going to be a little bit of a difference. But what's going to be interesting to watch these drivers take on and try to fight throughout the course of this race isn't necessarily the banking, but the bumps and where exactly they're going to find time. You can see that car rattling, the whole chassis for this 97 shaking as they head down the back straightaway. All these cars, York gets a little bit of the outside wall there. That's going to be a challenge for sure, is trying to get that exit off turn 4 just right to capitalize on speed, try to make the most time. Here comes Jordan Powell out onto the racetrack in his number 75 Chevrolet in his JP Photography Century Chevrolet. Here at what could be considered a home track here for Jordan Powell in listen at me, I'm mixing up tracks out here at Hickory. Jordan has a lot of history at this racetrack, as well as many drivers in our field who are from the Carolinas. I know they're going to find it a challenge to try and race here tonight. So 14 degrees of banking in 1 and 2, 12 degrees in 3 and 4, and 8 degrees of banking on both straightaways, rounding it out to a 3/8 mile total distance for one lap around this little speedway in Hickory, North Carolina. And as these drivers are kind of making laps, trying to find some pace, we'll update you on some of those practice times before we get some interviews. Well, let's do a nice little take-a-lap segment as Jordan Powell sends Curly around for a slide. If we go ahead and do a nice little take-a-lap segment, right on board with me here, number 89 Toyota Camry. Gonna go ahead and start this finish line for our first lap. A couple of 3 laps here for you guys to kind of get an idea of what it's like to really race around this speedway and just how bumpy it is. Look how bumpy it is right up there against the outside wall, heading down the back straightaway, especially here off turn 4. It feels almost for what one would think is nearly impossible to try to get off of that corner, at least as well as you did 1 and 2. That little bit less banking there in 3 and 4 gives your tires just less to lean on. You have to almost arch the corner differently. But the most important thing is to try to arch the corner off really, really early. Try to really get out of the throttle early, jump on the brakes, and really get the drive off the exit of the corner. That is what's going to offer you the most optimal line around the racetrack, give you the best lap times, and ultimately is probably going to conserve your tires as well, because drive off the corner is going to be essential, especially if we end up with some longer green flag runs here tonight. But that's going to be something that's incredibly difficult, because we haven't really seen a whole lot of green flag runs this season. Something that these drivers kind of struggled with last year as well was trying to figure out how to keep these cars underneath them and kind of where the limit was. They were struggling to find that in practice, and then even under race conditions, we've seen 30, 40, sometimes if you're lucky, 50 lap stints where some of those green flag runs, or the extent of those green flag runs we were seeing before, we would see some incidents, and then the good old theory of cautions breed cautions would always come to fruition, and things would just kind of fall apart after that, and you maybe have a couple little green flag runs scattered around there. But it doesn't give a whole lot of guys like this guy right here. Sean Rowe in this 99 machine loves long green flag runs, loves the opportunity to keep these tires underneath him, and that's exactly what he's going to hope for tonight, is a longer green flag run, because Sean Rowe is currently still searching for that eluded first win of his weekly series career. But he's got the pace. He's got the second best average finish, barely behind Austin Cook, who surprisingly is not going to be in the field tonight. So that's one thing that we really got to look out for, is with Austin Cook sidelined, he's doing some racing and practicing in real life with his legend car. So that kind of puts him out for this race. He's still going to be the overall points leader with his win and current points situation, but that's going to drop him out of that regular season points battle and should give Sean Rowe an opportunity to try to get some points and some legs up on him here at Hickory. But it's going to rely on Sean to really perform and finish just as well as he has everywhere throughout the at least entire part of the first part of this season so far. So Sean Rowe, definitely one to watch, and he should, if everything goes right, take the overall regular season points lead from Austin Cook, given his absence here tonight at Hickory. And then obviously we talked about him a little bit earlier, that 97 car of Jacob York. This man has been on an absolute tear, real-life racer as well, and you just know he knows how to get these cars around the racetrack. Doesn't matter where we're at, he is going to have speed, and that says not just in his win percentage so far through the season, but also in his speed everywhere. Top 5 currently here on the practice charts, but we've got so much speed in this field. It's unreal. Justin Brooks back in this field as well tonight, making another start here in the weekly series, currently on top of the practice sheets with a 14-13. Cole Denton, Bryce Sanders there for Bandit Motorsports. Round out your podium spots, at least for right now, here on the quick laps here in practice. Dylan Kaiser there in 4th. I believe this is going to be Dylan's first start in the series in that number 36 car. And then Jacob York, who we're watching along right now, is trying to find a little bit more hot lap speed in his Ford Mustang as he hits the stripe to try to complete another lap here around the speedway. But yeah, watching Jacob York go around this racetrack, I mean, you can't say much more than the fact that he's been on fire. He's won the last 2 races, and just like we mentioned, first 2 starts. He's only had 2 starts in the series at all, ever. And in both of those starts at Myrtle Beach and Concord, back-to-back weeks, he won them both. Well, I guess back-to-back racing weeks, I should say. Won both of those events. Even with space in between, York wasn't rusty. He went out there, performed at a high level just like he always does, and he's going to look to go for a three-peat here tonight at Hickory as he jumped up with that 1 lap up and split the Bandit Motorsports cars, as he is now currently 3rd on the practice charts with a 14-19. So a good improvement on the laps there for Jacob York in the 97. And talking about someone like York, who's led the 2nd most laps all season in 2 less starts than the series has allotted here on the year, is none other than Cole Denton in that 46 Mellow Yellow? I feel like I got an accent right there when I said that. Mellow Yellow City Chevrolet machine there for Cole Denton. He's got the most laps led so far through these first 5 races with 160 total. And on top of that, he also has had 2 poles to help him get to that most laps led percentage here so far through the first 4 weeks of the year. But surprisingly enough, Cole Denton by this point last year had a win under his belt. And so far right now, he has struggled to try to notch a slot in that win column. So it's going to be fun, I think, to watch Cole Denton maybe try to break that winless streak that he's been on for quite a bit now, dating back to season 1 and even prior to the chase last year, and maybe try to find some speed, get some momentum going, because I think once this kid gets on fire, the Crown Prince of qualifying, he can qualify all he wants and he can win as many poles, but you know, he loves getting those poles, but what he loves even more is bringing home the trophy and the checkered flags. And I'm sure Cole Denton can get on a nice little roll. He's going to find some opportunities to really take it to these guys and cut into that points lead that the guys like Sean Rowe and Austin Cook currently have over him. But Cole's not in a bad spot either. Currently in points, he's ranked just behind Sean. They're in the 5th position, and he's only 6 points behind Sean Rowe. So he's right there in that battle for the points lead. If all he can do is just break through, I think in that win column, it's going to give him that edge he needs to really slot himself as the 3rd, 4th best guy, and even maybe in the mix of all those guys for who is the best here in the series. Now we're going to try our best to try to get some interviews here as practice comes to a close. And one of those that I really wanted to get was none other than Jordan Powell. We talked about him a little bit earlier when he was out on the racetrack. He's currently out on track right now, coming off turn number 4, trying to stretch his legs to get away from that 4 of Tyler Curley and the Cherry Wine Camry. And I'm kind of scared because I feel like I do this all the time where I pull the drivers up to the booth whenever they are on the racetrack. He may not be able to join right away, but we'll see if we can go ahead and get a word with Jordan Powell at the place I'm sure he considers to be one of his best or one of his favorite racetracks. Jordan also currently inside the top 10 on speed, so Jordan not too shabby right now as he heads through turns 1 and 2 here in the last minute of practice. Oh, knocks down the fence there off of turn 2. That's going to be the most crucial part, is if you mess up that entry to the corner, if you jump back to the throttle just a little too fast, you can kiss that lap goodbye, not only in qualifying but also during the race, because, oh, you see right there, Jordan getting a little bit loose trying to keep it off the wall, merely inches there on corner exit here in the 75. But you really got to use every inch of the racetrack to make speed. It's just all about the timing. Where do you get to the throttle? Where do you try to niche that left side tire, bring those rears around to get the drive off the corner, to try to put down the quickest time possible? Because currently right now, these two, the 4 of Curly and the 75 of Jordan Powell, are pretty identical on lap times as they run on the racetrack here with practice coming to a close. So Jordan Powell comfortably inside the top 10 on speed, and with practice coming to an end, the always a threat 33, Justin Brooks, tops the practice charts with a 14:13 quick time in practice. Now let's see if we can get Jordan. We do. Jordan, what's up, buddy?
Yeah. Oh man. Wow. Nothing much, honestly. I can go ahead and tell you this. I listened to you commentate me practicing there. Car's really good. It's I don't know how I felt about coming here, but honestly, I learned some stuff from Jacob York, and that's helped out a lot. So, this of course is my home track. I'm not going to say how I feel about it in real life, but it's a fun little bit racing joint. It definitely wears the tires a lot. You got to save your stuff, so just got to play it safe here tonight. I'm going to try to do like I did at Concord last week, just ride around and wait till the end and try to push.
I can see. I bet you're not the only one or only driver in the field with that plan. And you mentioned Jacob York actually kind of helping you out and how to conquer this place. What's some things that Jacob has kind of tried to put in your head as to how to get around this place?
So sorry, I'm being yelled at by our lovely official right now. Anyways, the only thing I could say is, if you're pushing the car, don't use a lot of brake. That's all I'm gonna say.
I was gonna say, I was like, I don't want you to reveal y'all's secrets or anything, but you know, just a curious question.
Yeah. He's a lot of help because I know him in real life. I've shot pictures for him actually in real life because he races Tri-County and Kingsport, Tennessee.
Sweet.
So, yeah, he's a really great guy. I'm sure you could. Everybody that's racing tonight could probably learn from him. So.
Absolutely. Well, in referring back to yourself, because you were inside the top 10 on practice time. I think you rounded out practice in 8th, so pretty good there on the practice charts. Only everybody's pretty tight there on quick time laps. How do you feel going into qualifying here, and as to what's maybe your goal, and what do you think is realistic for your starting spot?
I want to qualify top 10, of course. I'd love to be able to come out tonight with the top 5. Honestly, I don't know how realistic it is, but with us only having one faster pair this week, if I could save that, use it at the end as sort of like my saving grace, maybe if something happens at the end, versus everybody's ran out of them, maybe I can pull something out. That's if not, of course, just top 10 as usual. Maybe a top 7 would be nice. Be closer to the top 5 than I am losing a top 10. So, yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, thanks for taking a minute to talk with us, and maybe we'll talk to you a little bit later, bud. Good luck.
I appreciate it.
All right, that was Jordan Powell. Appreciate him taking a minute to talk with us here before qualifying, as Michael Deach in the 51 went out on the racetrack. Put his first lap on the board. First qualifier with a 14:61, so it's about half a second off our quickest time that Justin Brooks put down at the completion of practice. Next out on the racetrack is going to be the 92 here of Anthony Sharps. Next lap around should be his first on the board as he heads around the racetrack. A little bit different qualifying format here for Hickory. Oh, a little bit of a blink there for Sharps as he hits the stripe. And he goes quickest, 2/10 quicker than Michael Deach does Anthony Sharps with a 14:40. It's going to be a quick time for the 92, but still a little bit of a ways slower than the quickest time we saw in practice, but we'll see how it holds up. 14:33, almost a full 10th improvement there for Sharps, so a good lap nonetheless. Paul Nelson, I believe this is his first start here in his number 32 Media Services Ford Mustang. Heads off turn number 4 as he's going to start his first time lap here this time by. Beautiful race car. You can never go wrong with a nice white and pink combination. Even just pink in general, I think just sometimes on race cars gets overlooked. We kind of signify it for breast cancer awareness and times like that, but I think pink is always a color that it's never going to look bad on a race car. Just put it that way. It just looks fast, in my opinion. Anything bright, anything colorful is going to make a race car look quick. Oh, a little bit of a struggle there off of turn 2, or turn 4, sorry. There for the 32. It doesn't look like he got a lap down. It's not showing up, so it must have been a struggle of a lap there for the 32. Must have had some kind of a contact warning or something that we didn't see, because he did not have a lap go through, possibly a transponder issue. But either way, we just talked to him. Jordan Powell out on the racetrack in his number 75 Chevrolet. Nice little lap there. Good exit there off turn 4. So he's going to head down to the stripe, and he goes quickest. Oh, man, big contact off of turn 2. He was trying to give it everything there off the exit of the corner. Just could not get the power down quick enough, and unfortunately chases it up the hill, smacks that right side against the outside wall, and that is going to be all she wrote for Jordan Powell, who still goes quickest for the time on top of the board. Next car out. Oh, Paul Nelson here. Must have had some kind of an error, I believe, with his transponder. So Nelson back out on the racetrack. This 32 going to try to get a time down this go around. Maybe hope he has some better luck. Heads through turns 1 and 2. I believe this will be his first time lap. Down the back straightaway. Not looking too shabby. Nice and smooth. Nothing too flashy. Hits that bump there in turn 4. Lets him get a nice little rotation on exit down to the stripe. Oh, and quickest for Paul Nelson there in the 32 with a 14:26. We'll see if he can improve here on his second lap. Oh, got all over the bumps there in 4 that time around. Didn't look terrible though as he hits the stripe, and it's going to be no improvement there for Nelson on his second lap, unfortunately. So that's going to put him all the way at the top of the board, at least for the moment, as the Cheerwine Camry of Tyler Curley is now out on the racetrack. Went around for his warm-up lap, and now he is going to take his Camry diving off into turn number 1 for his first timed lap. Down, oh no, that's not going to be good. That might as well discount this lap. This is a throwaway after that contact with the outside wall, or at least it should be, unless he miraculously didn't get a contact warning for that. I'm going to assume he did. He did. No time on the board for Curley, so he's just got to hope this one's quick enough to put him in contention, at least for maybe a top 5 starting spot as he comes off 4, really working the hands inside the race car. And he does go quickest, but only by a little. 14:24 for Tyler Curley. Really good lap there for Curley. Well enough to put him top of the board. And now we got Sean Rowe. Sean was just ahead of Curley in practice, so we'll have to see how Sean fares here in qualifying, if he found something a little extra between practice and now. Something in this setup that might help the 99 car rotate a little bit better off the exit of the corner. Needs to use a little bit more of the racetrack on exit if he wants to maybe gain a little bit of time. Got a nice little hip check rotation there off of 4. He goes third quickest, 14:27 for Rowe. This Davidson 99 car, he's going to hope for some more improvement here on the second lap around. Really jumped into the throttle there in 4. You can tell how quick he jumped to it, and he goes second quickest. Not enough for the quick time, but it puts him second. 14:25 for Sean Rowe. Next up, Dylan Kaiser. Yeah, we talked about this pre-race and I've already forgotten. I apologize. Dylan Kaiser dives it off into turn number 1. It's going to be his first time lap here in the number 26. Oh, big contact with turn 2 wall. Dives it back to 3 and 4. He knew what he had to do. He just tried to carry that momentum a little bit higher. He's going to try to make this lap the money one. Off of turn 2, he keeps it straight. That time, no contact there. Through 3 and 4. Oh, really jumped in the gas early. Had to jump out of it. Almost got to the outside wall. And he gets a lap on the board, but it's a 14:30. And that puts Kaysar 5th quickest on the charts. And now, something I think several people have been dreading is this young man right here, Bryce Sanders, and his return to the series. I believe started at Wilkesboro, but he's kind of been absent since here for Bandit Motorsports, but he is now back in this number 15 Chevrolet. Again, what I say about pink on a race car, those bright neon pink numbers just really do it for me. As he hits the stripe, I believe that should have been his first time lap, and it was. It was quite a bit slower. He looked a little bit slower going around, maybe just trying to test the waters a little bit, feel where the racetrack was, but now this will be his quick one through 3 and 4, now to the stripe. This one I'm sure we'll see big improvement out of the 15, and we do! Massive! All the way to the top for a quick time. That's Bryce Sanders with a 14:18, almost a full 10th quicker than Tyler Curley. But now here he is, the man on fire, Jacob York, in the 97, warming up these tires on his outlap. And now he's going to try to carry this momentum through 3 and 4 and down the front straightaway as he starts his first time lap. We've seen a couple guys mess up that first time lap, or maybe go a little bit slower on purpose as to carry more speed through the second, because that seems to be what Bryce Sanders did, and it really worked out for him. But here is York, first lap on the board, second quickest, 14:20 for York. Down the back straightaway for the second time here in qualifying, as he dives it down through 3 and 4, all the way below the apron, gets to the stripe. Does he take the top spot? Not able to do it. Jacob York relished a second with a 14:20 behind Bryce Sanders, who currently sits on top of the speed charts.
Hello?
Hello? Oh, somebody's here.
Hi.
Hello, Joseph Costello.
Hi, so just came on here to say Paul Nelson got a redo of qualifying because his transponder, aka me being a little dumb, forgot to clear his black. So he had to redo a qualifying just to clear it up.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe, for the update. So that clears up that mess, but right now, big moment in qualifying. The crown prince of quali here in Cole Denton comes off turn 4. This should be his first time lap. Does he go quickest? He's a first lapper, and he doesn't! The crown prince of qualifying has done it again. 14:15 for the quickest lap on the board. As he comes back around to try to look for some improvement, we'll see if he does it. Man, that car is glued to the racetrack off 4. Not going to be any improvement, but man, Cole Denton with a 14:15 takes it to the top.
Hello again.
Oh, Joe is back. Yes, Joe.
All right, I'm being told to refresh your schemes. That is all I'm being told to.
Okay, roger that.
That is all. I'm so sorry. Have a good day. Have a good broadcast.
You're good. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate Joe, as always, for running things up in the tower. As here comes Justin Brooks off of turn number 4. This should be his first time lap, I believe. No lap there, so okay, maybe next time around for Brooks. This should be his first time lap here in the 33, coming off turn 4. A little bit dicey that lap. We'll see if it went quick, and he does! Brooks knocks the prince off his throne, and Justin Brooks, I believe, is going to claim pole position with a 14:12 in the number 33 JBD Cadillac. Unbelievable scenes here at Hickory. An intense fight for the pole position. Looked like Cole Denton had it wrapped up, but Justin Brooks said, not so fast, Cole Denton. I'm going to put about 300s on you here in this hot lap. And he's going to claim the top spot for the start of the event at Hickory. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do what our race control in Joseph Costello recommended me do, and that was to refresh my trading paints. So we're going to go ahead and do that because maybe some people aren't seeing all their paint schemes. We'll go ahead and get that set up and refreshed real fast. Also helps you guys, the viewers, differentiate who we're talking about. Got some in the chat. York. Brooks here to cherry pick. Plenty of votes here in who wins, and only one vote for Jacob York. Come on, people. How are you going to vote against the man on fire that is Jacob York? I just don't know how you could do it. I just don't know how you could do it. Either way, we're trying to get the trading paints re-downloaded. Looks like some more are coming through, possibly. Couple guys in the tech, I believe Sean Rowe is in the tech shed. There we go. Different paint scheme there for Rowe. Sanders scheme's updated. All right, I think we're good. Everybody's reset. Sean Rowe, I believe, is fixed. He's probably the one who was throwing a hissy fit as he sits inside the tech shed where I can't even see his paint scheme anyway. At least for the most part. But that is going to do it for qualifying. Justin Brooks in the 33 claims pole position ahead of Cole Denton, Bryce Sanders, Jacob York, and Tyler Curley. Rounds out the top 5 here in qualifying. We talked to Jordan Powell, and his confidence going into this event qualified comfortably inside the top 10. So Jordan Powell going to be starting this race on the outside of row 4 there in the 8th position. So not a bad qualifying effort there for Jordan Powell and that number 75 camp. He's definitely going to be happy with that one, or at least that team should be happy about that qualifying effort. As everybody gets locked in on the grid, we'll get set to bring you the grid here shortly as things get set. I just want to make note that Jordan actually mentioned this earlier. This is something that I failed to mention in the pre-race show, was the reduction of what these drivers are going to have at their disposal through the course of the race. Now, what are those things, you may ask? Well, obviously, these guys are going to have 3 sets of tires over the course of the race, including the ones they start on. So they've got plenty of sets, they've got plenty of fuel in the pits. But what these guys have also been used to, basically since race number 1 of the late model stock weekly series all the way back to March of last year, these drivers were used to having 2 fast repairs in the pits in case things went wrong during some course of the race. Now, having said that, some things had brought the admins and some of the managers of the league to maybe crack down on some of this over-aggressive driving and some of these guys maybe using those fast repairs to their advantage. And because of that, these drivers, same tire limit. Obviously, we can't really get rid of fuel in the pits, or that would be a little bit weird, especially here on a simulator like iRacing. But what the admin team has done, and what the managers and the operations team of the league has done, is they have removed one of those all-important fast repairs. So, with that being said, that just means that these guys basically are going to have to race a little bit safer, a little bit more conservatively, and hopefully that gives us a little bit better racing product on the track, and as the pace car and the field is going to get set to roll off here. So that's just something you guys should be aware of, is that we always announce here at the start of the broadcast, what these guys have available to them. And that's arguably going to be a pretty big rule change and a pretty big adjustment for these guys as this race gets underway. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and run through the field. Before this race gets underway, pole winner Justin Brooks is going to lead him off from the inside of row number 1 to his outside. Crown Prince of qualifying, Cole Denton, locked to the outside of row 1 yet again here on the season. Bryce Sanders, his teammate's going to start to the inside of row number 2 with Jacob York, the man on fire, to his outside. Tyler Curley is going to start in the 5th position there in the 4 car, down to the inside of row number 3. And to his outside is going to be Sean Rowe in the number 99, starting in the 6th spot. Either way, pace truck pulls off the racetrack. Green flag is in the air. And these late model stocks roar off into turn number 1. Oh, we got a spinner in the back. It's Jordan Powell. We stay green for the moment as Jordan gets back going. We already got a lap car in front of the field. That's the 26 of Dylan Kaser. He must have been involved in that incident with Powell. As we're already 3 laps into this event, Justin Brooks trying to break away. But now he's got that 26 machine sitting right in front of him, just a few car lengths ahead, and he's probably worried. He's like, man, we just started. I'm already running into lap traffic. Cole Denton right there, waiting in the wings behind Brooks in the 33. Jacob York leapfrogged Bryce Sanders off the restart there down to his inside, moved up to the 3rd spot. Sanders falling back to 4th. Curley still holding on to the 5th spot. Sean Rowe comfortably there in 6th. Paul Nelson back there in 7th. And Jordan Powell, after that early spin, is all the way back outside the top 10. He's falling back to the 12th spot. He's probably hoping for a caution as he's currently 9 seconds back on the leader, which is almost a full lap at this point. I mean, you see Dylan right there in front of the field in the 26, holding him off pretty well right now, maybe hoping he doesn't burn those tires up so he gets lapped even quicker. Might be one of the quickest laps we've ever seen in the series. But man, these guys are just bumper to bumper all around the racetrack right now. Riding on board with Justin Brooks, looking back at Cole Denton as the sun sets here at Hickory Motor Speedway. Cole Denton using all that space, but man, look how close Jacob York is making this battle down into turn number 1. He's going to try to put a lot of pressure here on Cole Denton. Looks like he might have a little bit better speed, at least through the center of the corner, because he really backs off of Cole. Just a couple feet there on entry, but he brings all that distance back down the straightaway. And now he takes a peek to the inside of Cole Denton. That's for the 3rd spot. He's going to really arc this corner. We talked about this in the pre-race show during our take a lap segment. How you really need to start this high arc. Oh, he gets it to the back of the 46. It's a wonder Cole Denton didn't go for a spin there. He keeps the rear tires underneath him. Little bit of a contact push there from York to Denton. 2 guys who have raced each other incredibly cleanly over the course of their time together. Always able to complement each other, especially York over the last couple races, who's pretty much raced Cole for the win. And Cole raced him extremely clean through all those incidences. And York with nothing but positive things to say about that young man in that 46 machine. Everybody's still single filed out now, as we've already got 15 laps ticked away next time by. 26 moves up the racetrack. Is going to allow the field to smooth on by. You can tell those tires have really fallen off, especially if he spun them there early with the incident with Jordan Powell. Entirely possible he just does not have the pace right now to keep up as he continues to fall back through the field. Finds a slot right there between Curley and Rowe. He's going to maybe try to hold on to that spot and pray for a caution, but Cole Denton putting the pressure on here behind the 33 of Brooks. Here at lap 16 or so, Cole Denton loves to work this short run in and try to gain as many positions and really stretch his legs as much as possible. And I imagine he really wants to get around this 33 car so he can do that, use that to his advantage. Try to build a lead over the course of this run right now so that you don't have to worry about all these guys bumper to bumper in traffic. That might send you for a spin, that might make unnecessary contact. The longer you linger, the greater of an opportunity there is for someone to go for a spin. Looks like a real big gap has developed now between Curley and Rowe due to the 26 machine. Kind of moved up out of the way, but either way, Sean Rowe still ended up falling back just a little bit and has lost quite a few car lengths there to Curley. And that top 5 is kind of broken away on their own right now. Curley with a nice comfortable start. Talking about pre-race, he's never one to hype himself up, but he is very much adept at this racetrack. He's won here before. Granted, it was a terrifying and utterly unclean way to win, but he was in contention and still won this race last season. That's one thing you really got to make note of. Cole Denton really getting swirly off the exit of 4 there. He might have even got a little contact with the outside wall down the front straightaway. But if you just watch these guys, if we watch them from an up-top view, just watch how differently they all attack this racetrack. Cole Denton dives it in a little bit below Justin Brooks, but Brooks able to slide that yellow line, really hold it around, roll it out the exit of the corner, take it to the outside wall, and do that exact same thing in 3 and 4. Cole Denton just sends it in a little bit deeper. Oh, contact in front of the field. Justin Brooks gets tagged, and that's going to be our first caution flag. Justin Brooks in the 33 gets spun from the lead, and a mistake by Cole Denton. I imagine Denton going to end up with a penalty due to causing that contact. Brooks, leading the first 24 laps of the event, is now martyred all the way back in the field with heavy left side damage to that Cadillac. Cole Denton looks like he's letting the field by, receiving that penalty. He doesn't have much damage on that 46 car, so an unfortunate event there for the 46. As the field probably by, oh, Justin Brooks really showing his displeasure there with Cole Denton as he passes by, with Cole Denton receiving that EOL penalty. And oddly enough, with that spin, what does that cause? The man on fire himself, Jacob York, there in the 97. That now allows him to claim the lead here in the event. So I don't think, if I'm the field, this is what I would want to see. I would not want to see the guy who has come into this series kind of last minute, really, in the form of York, and over the last 2 race weekends has absolutely brought the heat, has basically dominated the events, shown speed in every session that has been hosted over those last 2 races, and he's doing the exact same thing here already at Hickory in these first 30 laps. I don't think him being out front is what you want to see. Now, you've got a guy like Bryce Sanders there in that 15 behind him, and what's interesting is that Bryce, so far this season, has not yet raced around Jacob York until this very moment. I'm sure he's watched, seen Jacob's successes, but it still begs the question, will Bryce race him any differently? We know Bryce is not necessarily against using that chrome horn on the front bumper of his Chevrolet. So we'll have to wait and see kind of how he opts to race that 97 as he chooses the inside behind York for the restart, which is, again, quite interesting as it allows both Curley and Rowe to basically gain 2 or 3 spots here as we get set for a restart. Pace truck off the speedway into the restart zone for the first time tonight. Green flag back in the air here at Hickory. Curley going to try to run that outside groove. Everybody fanning out all over the speedway out towards the back. Trying to keep it clean, and oh, big dive bomb there for Hunter Johnson on Sean Rowe. He's going to dive it all the way down to the inside there in 3 and 4. Side by side still for second is Curley and Sanders. They had a little beef during the drivers meeting, or at least Curley did. He's got a spitball and a couple of things at Bryce Sanders, who's able to slide up in front of Curley through 3 and 4, and Sanders retains the second spot as Jacob York trying to stretch his legs to take off. Oh, a little bit of a squirrely moment there for Sanders. We'll see how Curley decides to race Sanders with their history that we're aware of over the course of the last season. Everybody fanning out towards the back of the field. Everybody up towards the front, pretty well single file. Everybody towards the back against the fall line as well. We saw that incident with Justin Brooks. He's now, oh, we got a spinner in the back. It's Paul Nelson. The 32 of Nelson gets sent for a spin and is tagged in front of the 51 of Michael Deach, who slams on the brakes and tries not to get taken out. Let's run it back, see what happened here with the 32. Looks like it might have been involved by Jordan, or started by Jordan Powell way out back. Golly. Jordan Powell in the 75, sending his Chevrolet from Timbuktu in 3 and 4. Dives it all the way underneath Nelson and immediately sends that driver around. Oh, heavy contact to the front bumper of that Deach machine as well. Damage kind of fixed itself, so I don't know if that was just kind of a brief netcode damaged look or if he actually has some pretty heavy nose damage. But at least from our perspective, it looks all right. So maybe Deach hoping he doesn't have some kind of puncture in that radiator on his Chevrolet. We're going to go ahead and catch back up to the field here quickly as Deach maybe, I believe it was so. It looked like Deach maybe came down pit road to take that fast repair for his team. So again, unfortunate incident there for Nelson. Jordan Powell, so far here through the first 37 laps, been caught up in 2 incidences. One was not a caution. It was a spin on lap 1. No caution was called, as Jordan Powell is going to be relegated to the back of the field with an EOL penalty there after that incident. So here comes Jacob York back to the choose cone. Once again, we're going to restart, I'm sure, in a very similar manner. And as we are, first 2 rows reset as they were. Jacob York with Tyler Curley to his outside for the restart. Sanders down low in row number 2 with Sean Rowe to his outside. So we'll see if Curley can try to rubber in this second lane. Maybe drag Sean Rowe along with him to move them up into the top 3. Either way, back to the restart zone. Jacob York and Tyler Curley, they match each other quite evenly there off the start, at least to the stripe. But man, they are like a hornet's nest right now as Curley still has the corner panel up too. He's going to lose it pretty quickly, I imagine, here in 3 and 4. He's got Bryce Sanders underneath him, and he does it. Curley still got a hook, line, and reel on the back of that 97, but he's got pressure from Sean Rowe. He gets tagged. Curley in front of the field. And this is what we said. Cautions breed cautions, and oh, there's Curley backing it into Denton after the yellow. Justin Brooks re-involved in an incident. Oh man, Brooks, oh wow. Looked like he was really upset again there with Cole Denton. Almost hit him again. Although I'm not really sure if that was about earlier or just then. We'll run it back and see what happened. It's possible that they got collected yet again. Watch Curley here. He's got the 99. He's really trying to be aggressive on the restart, and Sean Rowe just a little bit of a touch and go. Oh, but Cole Denton again, you've seen it. Took Brooks out again here in this whole scuffle. Watch it in slow-mo. So Curley bounces off the 15. I mean, Curley just squeezing everybody down low. I don't really see his need or point in doing that. Goes down the track, doors Hunter Johnson, who's able to get by pretty cleanly, but Cole Denton, once again, seemingly nowhere to go, gets into the back of the 33 and sends him for a slide along with Curley. But oh man, Anthony Sharps was going to avoid that, I think, and got the net code. Otherwise, that would have been some pretty crazy wreck avoidance yet again for the 92 Anthony Sharps after what we saw at Myrtle Beach. Go ahead and catch back up to the field. It'll be interesting to see how race control deems that one. But Jacob York's loving the view out front right now with the pace car the only thing in sight. And Bryce Sanders out back in his mirror has yet to make a challenge. But we'll see if he has something up his sleeve for the next restart, as a couple of those contenders he was racing with up front are now no longer there. So Jacob York, Bryce Sanders, Hunter Johnson, and Sean Rowe, along with Dylan Kaser, who was involved in that opening incident with Jordan Powell, who fell all the way back, went a lap down, is now back up on the lead lap, and wouldn't you know it, inside the top 5. So a great effort there for the 26 to keep things rolling. It's a long race. You let these guys take themselves out, you're bound to get in a good finishing position, as it looks like race control is going to opt to use single file restarts due to the increase in cautions. So we're back to single file restarts, at least for the time being. Green flags back in the air as Jacob York leads Sanders and Hunter Johnson off into 1, but big dive bomb by the 88 down to the inside of the 15. They're going to be side by side off 2. Everybody pretty much sorted themselves out pretty quickly. Stayed single file with regards to Hunter Johnson, who has taken that second spot from Bryce Sanders by force off the restart. Oh, Sanders knocks down the wall off of turn 2. That's really going to do some damage to that right side as Sean Rowe's down low, but Sanders, wow, power drives it off the top and retakes the 3rd spot from Sean Rowe. Oh, Sean Rowe with some contact as well there off 2. All these guys are really struggling to find that throttle point. Then they're coming off the exit of the corners, especially in turn 2. I imagine we'd see more of it in 4, but the problem spot really is off the exit of 2, because you could make up a lot of time there, or you could just absolutely knock down and knock off the right side of your race car. First time fighting inside the top 5 tonight. That's Jimmy Gawker there in the 2. Won the pole at Myrtle Beach. And is looking to maybe try to find some of that long run speed he lacked down there in the Carolinas. Or South Carolina. Carolinas. As he moves up into the 5th spot. First time tonight here for Jimmy Gawker. But everybody's pretty much saying, oh, Nelson shoots up the racetrack. Justin Brooks is on a mission right now as he slides underneath the 32. And now he's got his sights set on Anthony Sharps. He's going to put Brooks up into the 8th spot after winning the pole and leading the first 24 laps of the race. Brooks doing a great job here, trying to come through the field rather quickly as he looks to the inside of Anthony Sharps. This is one of those developing stories throughout the race as the pole sitter tries to come back to the field. Sharps going to give him the easy move, let him on by down low on the inside as Curley and Benton are back there trying to come up through the field on their own as well. They both got past Nelson, who's trapped up on the outside of the racetrack. Bryce Sanders right there on the back bumper of Hunter Johnson. He got to that 3rd spot, got some damage on that right side, but now he's on the attack. You would think that the amount of damage from that hard contact off of 2 really hurt the car, but he's finding a way to adjust, give this car exactly what it needs, and he's taking the fight to the 88. Lap 58 of 150. Got about 16, 17 laps or so before we hit the halfway yellow. And while these guys are under green, if you're new, then things are about to get great for you. But if you're not, you already know. Turn up those speakers as we're going to crank it up and listen to the sights and sounds of late model stock racing here at Hickory. We're back from Crank It Up, and we saw a lot of action happen there during that segment. Bryce Sanders battling side by side with Hunter Johnson for position. Gets loose off the exit of 2, saves it miraculously, and now has fallen all the way back to the 7th spot. But we've seen this 33 car on an absolute tear, gives the bumper to the 99 car. He's going to dive it off into turn 1. He is absolutely driving through this field right now, even with a dented up front nose. Brooks looking down low. This is for the 3rd spot. Over the course of this green flag run, Brooks has just not been able to be denied. And somehow or another, he has found his way up back here fighting for the podium places. Drives it down to the bottom, almost makes contact with Rowe. Maybe a little bit of contact there down the straightaway. Dives it down into turn 1 and 2, where they're still side by side. Oh, more contact between him and the 99. He's trying to force him up the racetrack and make this way his own. Jimmy Gawker back there in 5th. He's kind of caught up to these guys, duking it out side by side. Sean's giving him the space down there to race, but Brooks is using it all up and then some. Here's they fight for 3rd off turn 4. Bryce Sanders back there as well. Halfway is out. Brooks trying to get this position before the yellow flies, and he might just get it. He's got a nose out in front. Sean Rowe around the high side. When is the caution going to fly? Brooks has a nose out. He's got the 3rd spot, but Sean Rowe still trying to make the outside roll. Race control holds it. We stay green. And now Sean Rowe drops in, fills that gap for the 4th spot between Brooks and Gawker. Or Gawker, sorry. I do that every time. 73 laps to go here at Hickory. We are just past halfway. And Jacob York, the man on fire, has stretched his lead in the 97 Mustang. Way out ahead of the 88 of Hunter Johnson, who's about 1.3 back. But Justin Brooks is right there. If anyone has the pace to catch that 97, it's going to be Brooks here in this 33 car. Hunter Johnson wakes up the hill off exit of 2. Down to the inside looks Brooks, who's, I don't know how he's doing it, but has incredible pace over this long run. And we got a caution. I believe that is going to be the halfway yellow. And Jacob York is going to be your halfway leader. It's going to be a bonus point for the 97 in the championship. And a great effort drive. But Justin Brooks in that 33, phenomenal moves to get himself back in contention as they all file down the pit lane for what I'm sure will be a trip for tires and plenty of other things that they need. Fuel, maybe even a fast repair for those that need it. York, first car off. I believe only took right side tires. But plenty of guys taking all 4. Jimmy Gawker pulls off pit road 2nd. Justin Brooks gets off pit road 3rd. Anthony Sharp's 4th. And Denton way back. Curley gets up there. Lots of management here by the field and interesting and diverse strategies. Thank you all so much for watching along. We're going to end our pre-race poll. Only 1 vote for both Rowe and York. And I'm just going to say, guys, if I was going to pick anybody, it was going to be Jacob York in the 97, who has led now over half this race, mind you. And only one other person of those watching live picked Jacob York to win. Everyone thinks it's going to be someone else. So, of those watching, I want you guys to comment. Who is your choice to win? Because obviously it's not Jacob York. It's not Sean Rowe. We're extending this yellow flag period, getting everybody caught up to the field. But go ahead, let me know in the replies. Let us all know who is your pick to win now as we are just past halfway. Has your choice changed? Would you change your vote now to Jacob York, given that the tide has shifted in his direction? Has lifted him up above the others. He's led over half this race now, and I'm sure has now and is now the overall lap leader in the series so far here through the first part of the season. But Jimmy Gawker in the 2 is an interesting story. Won the pole at Myrtle Beach. He's obviously got the ability for speed, just lacks it on the long run, but he looked really good there over the course of that 40, 50 lap run there before halfway. So we're going to find out here what kind of speed that 2 has on the short run and if he can still contend. Brooks looks like he used his fast repair, I believe. We'll see if that comes back to bite him because like we said, that one fast repair has kind of been a lot of people's saving grace, or having 2 fast repairs has really been their saving grace over the course of the season. Plenty of racing still left here to go as the pace truck pulls off the racetrack. And just past halfway, green flags back in the air. Jacob York, Justin Brooks lead him off into 1. Anthony Sharps, wow, shoots way up the racetrack from starting in row 2. He's kind of split the field all over the place as everybody shoots down to the inside. Cole Denton's back there as well, trying to make up some places. Bryce Sanders, his teammate, down low. Cole Denton trapped up on the top behind the 92. But man, here comes Jacob York and Justin Brooks. He's making the outside work. I have no earthly idea how the 33 is managing to make that outside groove work, but maybe it started to rubber in, and now he's finding the grip that's been left up there at his disposal here on this restart. What a battle side by side off turn 4 for the race lead. Jimmy Gawker in the 2 looking on. Off 1 and 2. Brooks leads that lap yet again. Here he goes. The pole sitter dives it off. Oh! Jacob York gets into the quarter panel just a little bit. Leans on him. He's still got it there as he dives off into 1. But I think Brooks is going to have it. He clears him off 2. And Jacob York falls back to 2nd. Here comes Brooks to the lead. Justin Brooks, the pole sitter, after getting spun early by Cole Denton, has now retaken the lead in his Cadillac over Jacob York. And now let's see if he can stretch his legs over the course of a maybe longer green flag run. Something else to remember also is that Jacob York only took 2 tires. Oh, around Gooker in front of the field from the 3rd position, goes for a spin, no caution. And there it goes. We thought he could get back going, but race control deemed it necessary for a yellow. And Jimmy Gawker from the 3rd position in the 2 car spins the tires on corner exit over the bumps in turn 2 and goes for a slide all by himself. It's going to drop him back outside the top 10. But Justin Brooks, an incredible drive for this Cadillac and himself in this Cadillac, as he has driven all the way back up through the field. Granted, given a couple cautions, but he was even involved in another one in 2 of the 4 yellows we've had here today. And even still has managed to drive through the field and put himself all the way up to the front. Interesting mix-up there after that set of circumstances with Jimmy Gawker is the 4 of Curley, who's now moved up into the 3rd spot. And then both Bandit Motorsports teammates in Sanders and Denton move up to 4th and 5th respectively, rounding out that top 5. And Sean Rowe, this is kind of where Sean has hovered around for most of this race in this first 100 laps, is this 6th position. Now this would continue Sean's top 10 streak if he were to finish in that spot, but it would also end his top 5 streak, which he and only one other driver in the series has been on since the start of the year, and that's Austin Cook, and they're currently tied in points. So we'll see if Sean Rowe can maybe fight for a top 5. He's still got 50 laps to do it. We'll see how it goes. Green flags back in the air, and once again, Jacob York, Justin Brooks duel off into 1. Now we'll see if Jacob York can find that same grip that Brooks found on the outside with those two tires. Oh, leaning on each other off 4. York, I think, just bounced off the outside wall there off of 4. Bryce Sanders putting a lot of pressure on the 97, but I think, oh man, I think the 97 must have some damage. That car doesn't look like it's handling as well as they dump it off into 3. But York is just trying to make everything work to stay side by side, and somehow he's managing to do it. I think that outside's going to be usable maybe on a restart, but it's just not going to be viable on a long run. You've really got to have that inside groove if you want to make something happen. Oh, Curley almost goes for a slide off the nose of the 46. I think that was just Curley, though, mainly. I think he got loose off of 2, and Cole Denton had to check up big time. As Jacob York still fighting side by side for the lead. Oh, in contact again with the outside wall, but he still has it. And he's going to fill that gap. And now here comes Bryce Sanders down low. He's going to fight for second. Oh, Sanders, he slides in front of the field, blocks up the brakes and takes out his teammates. Wow. I'm not really sure what Bryce Sanders was thinking in that moment, but he locked up the brakes right in front of his teammate and right in front of the field, basically parked it where no one had anywhere to go, and somehow, amazingly, Cole Denton's the only one involved. Or at least it appeared so. We're going to run it back and see, though. Let's run it back. See what happened here between the 15. Looked like he got loose off exit. Similar situation, if not the same situation, to what we saw with Jimmy Gawker. Oh, a little bit of netcode contact, maybe. But, man, that locking up of the brakes just gave Cole no choice but to get sent around. Let's watch it again. We're going to watch it here in slow-mo. So there's that initial contact between York and the 15. Oh, man, Curley barely got underneath that rear bumper. But there's Cole Denton, who, in trying to check up, is getting pushed by Hunter Johnson, who I'm sure can't really see what's going on from his POV, at least. We'll run it back and watch it from his perspective. Because I doubt he really can see what's going on with the 15, and I highly doubt he thinks that Sanders is just going to park it right there in the second lane of the racetrack. Hunter right there, putting the pressure on. Oh yeah, completely blocked off from vision. It was Hunter Johnson. And with Cole checking up, he just had no time to react. That puts Hunter Johnson up into the top 5, as well as Sean Rowe, who moves up into the 4th spot. Go ahead and catch back up to the field really quick as we are 1 to green. And we're going to see these two Titans in Brooks and York duke it out yet again. As the pace truck pulls off the track, Brooks, York into the restart zone. Green flags a waving. And they're going to duke it off into 1. But I think York has pretty much sold these right side tires off the car. But Curley's going to have another opportunity possibly to maybe roll this inside and try to take that second spot away. Both Bandit cars are now marked way back in the pack. Cole Denton outside the top 10, breaking into the top 10 that lap. Puts it up into 10th. Bryce Sanders up in 8th. Jordan Powell as well back up into the 9th spot as Curley's trying to fill that slot behind York, and he does it. I'm not really sure. Oh, he's going to get tagged by Hunter Johnson, and he does. And we got another yellow on the racetrack with Tyler Curley involved yet again. We say this last 40 laps, and it is possible, yes, that these things happen, that incidents happen, but these laps here at Hickory tick off like you wouldn't believe. I mean, we're talking 14-second lap times consistently around this speedway, and with under 40 laps to go, these guys are going to be digging, clawing for every piece of asphalt they can find on this racetrack to try to make a position, to try to find time. And what I'm interested there with Curley after that incident is kind of what he was thinking. Why was he thinking falling in behind York there was the better option, given that York was still kind of trapped up there on that outside and he had been struggling there? Why not stay to York's inside and kind of force him to make that outside work and possibly bring Sean Rowe along with you and pull him along throughout the field But either way, that's going to put Hunter Johnson way out back yet again with an EOL penalty. With Tyler Curley right in front of him. And it looks like we're going to get back in order with single file restarts once again. Drivers can keep it in order. Race control says, well, we're going to put it back in order. So lead him to the restart zone. Justin Brooks, Jacob York, Sean Rowe. Green flags in the air. And York right to the back bumper. But here comes Sean Rowe. Reeled him in off the restart. And now he's going to take a peek down low. Oh, man, just couldn't quite keep the momentum rolling. Sean Rowe falls back to third. Everybody pretty much single files out except for Cole Denton back here side by side with Paul Nelson in the 32. Oh, Denton gets a little bit sideways. Jordan Powell's going to take a look to the inside of Nelson now as well. Try to follow him through. That's going to be the 7th spot for Powell if he can make it clear, and he does. Curley, I thought, was going to make contact there with the 32 on corner exit. Oh, and he did that time into the corner. He sets him again, makes more contact. Curley is just not having it right now. He is not afraid to use that chrome horn. Curley now racing side by side with Hunter Johnson. I doubt they're going to be too happy with each other either. But everybody else, for the most part, at least right now, racing pretty cleanly as Bryce Sanders is that first side-by-side battle with Anthony Sharps. He's going to make quick work of it, put himself back into the 4th spot. 30 laps to go next time by. First side-by-side battles right here between Cole Denton and Anthony Sharps. Jordan Powell looking on. It's going to be the 5th spot for Denton, and then the 6th spot for Powell if he can make it work, and he does. He follows Denton through. Solid run here for Jordan Powell in that 75 car. Back up front, Justin Brooks inside 30 to go. I don't know if he's going to have any challengers unless these tires just completely fly off the car. I think the 33 pretty much has this race on lock if it goes green. But that's, I think, is going to be the only way to find out. If we get another restart, I don't think Brooks can be challenged. What's questionable, though, is who has the long run speed. Is it going to be York? Does Sean Rowe have something left in that pony of his? We try to get up and past the 97 and the 33. But right now, he's pretty content, or at least seems like it, waiting in the wings. There in the 3rd position. On board, next time by, 25 laps to go. Of 150 here at Hickory. This race is absolutely flown by. And I will say, it's amazing what less cautions will do for an event of this length. Most people would say, oh, that race is too long, or oh, that race is going to take forever. Well, it does if you have cautions. But you have less yellows, and you'll be amazed at how quickly these racetracks and these little short tracks events will fly by. As all these guys throughout the field begin to spread out now, as the laps begin to tick away. Inside 25 to go. Field's pretty much spread out right now. But I think when you're really going to start seeing some shifting of the positions is going to be inside the last 15. Maybe even inside the last 10 is where you're going to see who really has treated their tires the best. And right now it looks like Bryce Sanders might be doing a pretty good job of it as he's trying to reel in the 99 for the 3rd spot. Bryce Sanders off 2. Gained about a car length that lap on the 99. He's really struggling there on corner exit with the drive off, but Bryce Sanders, he is not. He's getting that run off the corner as he pulls right up to the back bumper of the 99 car. What is he going to do here this time around? Is he going to try to slide underneath him into 1? Right to the back bumper? No, he doesn't. He's going to follow him through the corner. Yet again, looks underneath the 99, and he's got the move. He's got the quarter panel. Dives it down low. He's on the door. A little bit of contact there off 4, but they're side by side. Down to the stripe. Inside 18 to go. Bryce Sanders, even with that right side damage, not giving an inch and carrying plenty of speed off the corner. Sean Rowe up the racetrack. Bryce Sanders down low. Peeks underneath him yet again, trying to get this 3rd spot. This is your battle for position. As Sean Rowe rings it off the high side. Sean Rowe is not going to be denied this last podium spot. It looks like he's maybe found a defensive line he likes up there on the top. Or at least in that second groove of the racetrack. But we know the energy that Bryce Sanders has behind the wheel of this Chevrolet. As he takes another look down to the inside, down the front straightaway. Is Sean going to be able to make the rotation up top? He drives it in a little deep off 2. Keeps the momentum up. Can he do it at 3 and 4? Both cars on the exit. Down the front straightaway. Big momentum for Sean Rowe. Slams the door shut yet again on Sanders. I think Sanders may have even tried to give him the horn there into 1. Manages to hold on to it. Here comes Sanders looking down to the inside yet again. But he's still on that back bumper. If these two get side by side, at least for long enough, I imagine that'll allow Cole Denton to even get into the mix. Here comes Sanders. He's got a better exit off 4 pretty much every single time. But next time by, he's only got 10 more laps to do it. Here comes Sanders again, back to the inside. He may have the momentum here. Same spot he's been in every time. Oh, he makes contact. Big slide for Sanders. He saves it. Sanders gave it everything he had, and it just wasn't enough. Sean Rowe, the Iron Fortress, holds him off in defense and keeps the 3rd spot. But Bryce is not done yet. He fell below his teammate Cole Denton. But now he's going to try to whiz back by Cole. Justin Brooks has pretty much checked out of this event. It is all but over. The winner is guaranteed. But we've still got plenty of fighting for position here back in the pack. Tyler Curley back there fighting with Hunter Johnson. They're still pretty close, but Cole Denton falls on back, loses about a car length that time around to Bryce Sanders, who has now solidified himself in that 4th spot. But man, how about Jordan Powell? Look at this. Holding it right there with Cole Denton as they go through 1 and 2. And next time by will be 5 laps to go. A absolutely phenomenal effort here for Jordan Powell in the 75 camp. Great, great effort. He may even have, if he, with a little more time, I think he might have even had the pace to get past this 46. Doesn't look like Curley's going to be able to get past Johnson, but that's going to, that time by for the leaders. It's going to be 4 laps to go, and just look at this lead that Justin Brooks has managed to stretch on the field. Unbelievable drive. 3 laps to go for Brooks. Side by side here with between Beach and Nelson. This is for the final spot inside the top 10. Both these guys looking to notch another one in the stat column. But that's also going to be marked 2 laps to go for Justin Brooks, as next time by will be 1 to go. Through 3 and 4. White flag in the wind. No contest. Fastest in practice. Wins the pole. Gets wrecked out twice early. And still would not be denied. Justin Brooks in the 33 is going to win at Hickory. What a drive by the 33 car as Deach and Nelson race back to the stripe for the final spot in the top 10. And it's going to go to Nelson. In his first start, a top 10 for the 32 of Paul Nelson. Racing all the way down to the line, but we got a massive pile up in 3 and 4. But it looks like Justin Brooks has dipped out after a phenomenal drive for Justin Brooks. Jacob York in the 97 once again brings it home in second and has a remarkable average finish of, I believe that's going to put him at like 1.3 or something. I don't know. Unbelievable scenes for Jacob York in the 97. Bryce Sanders in his return to the series after not racing for a couple weeks, or at least not since Wilkesboro. Bryce Sanders puts his car inside the top 3. Jordan Powell with a phenomenal drive. I think finished top 5. It's entirely possible, but either way, we're going to go ahead and try to interview our top 3. At first, we're going to start off with none other than the man on fire. Comes up a little bit short today, but you can't be too disappointed. And that is none other than Jacob York in the 97. Jacob, you brought it home second. I know it's got to be disappointing, but I can't be disappointing the way you performed. How's it feel?
Man, yeah, it's bittersweet for sure. To compete and run with Justin like I did tonight, I feel like this says a lot about my improvement on the sim of late. Justin's probably one of the best guys on the sim. I mean, the 10K iRacing proves it. He's an excellent driver, shows a lot of class a lot of the time. So to be able to have a good battle with him and show a little speed until the tires finally just kicked me in the tail. Pretty proud of that effort. So to finally lose one in this league, to lose to him, it feels pretty good.
Heck yeah, well, it really looked like Justin, who I'm sure we'll talk to in a minute, was really... I don't know what he had on the field, but it must have been something because he drove from back to the front, and then once he got out front, it was just like he had something nobody else had. What do you think you needed if you were going to try to take that fight to Justin in the closing laps?
Really. I mean, at the end, I just needed to be more free. I tried dialing some bias to the rear and trying to free the car up that way, since that's about all you can do. And I just didn't seem like it was enough for my liking. And with that being the way it was, the car was tight, and I pushed the right front off of it probably 20-30 laps into each run that we had tonight. So really got to figure something out there and work on that so we can run with him from here on out.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, thanks as always. It's a pleasure to watch you guys race. Thanks for taking a minute to talk with us, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, and thank you guys.
All right. Next up in the booth is going to be none other than our winner, the man who absolutely dominated the evening. If you could even call it you can't call it anything less than pure domination, even while being spun out early. Justin, how's it feel, man? You brought it home in victory lane.
It feels pretty good. We had a rough start to the race. I was managing my tires, trying to just run a pace and stay right front, and I don't know what happened I don't know what happened with Cole and all. I'm guessing he just rolled the center, just trying to get a run on me or something, and spun me, and had to drive from the back to the front and got back up to the top 5 and got spun out again, checking up for a wreck. So I was like, okay, I ain't going to save anymore. I'm just going to drive balls to the wall, and that's what I did, and drove up the second somehow on the same set of tires. Didn't expect that, and had a good restart. Got up front because it's really hard on the bottom or top to clear somebody. You just pinch them the wrong way, and you're both in the wall, and the setup's already tight as it is. You're burning the right front off. So like the biggest thing was just trying to clear Jacob there, and I feel like once I got in front of him, I could just manage to pace the first few laps of that run we had there at the end, and started laying the hammer down.
Yeah, and you talked about laying the hammer down and kind of just going balls to the walls, especially when you got kind of marked back in the field after those early incidences. I know those incidences kind of have to be frustrating, but was it fun to drive through the field the way you did?
Yeah, it was definitely frustrating. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, it gave me a goal. I was like, all right, go from the back to the front and see if I can still win this race. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was tough, like I said, to pass a few guys. I had a big battle with Sean Rowe there. He wasn't giving me an inch, and I don't blame him. And we raced side by side for, it felt like 15 laps before that caution. And again, it made it a challenge, and I love challenges, so it definitely added to it, and it made it a lot more fun than what it would have been if I would have just stayed up front and led the whole race. That would have been nowhere near as fun.
Absolutely. Well, hey, we thank you for taking a minute to talk with us. Anybody you want to shout out here before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for putting on the league. Anybody that's out there watching, pretty much it. Thank all the guys that ran me clean tonight. Except Cole, I'm gonna put him on my list right here.
he's on the hit list, man. Well, hey, thanks for talking with us. Congratulations, man. We'll hopefully talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you, man.
All right, that is gonna go ahead and wrap things up here for our festivities at Hickory. You can't really ask for much better than that. I mean, have a couple yellows here and there, but all in all, a great event. We saw comers and goers. We saw a phenomenal drive from Justin Brooks in that 33 machine, who drove from the back to the front after an early spin. Was definitely entertaining to watch. and keep up with him throughout the course of that race. He talked about him having that battle with Sean Rowe, talking about all the battles he had with kind of once you break into the top 5, that's when things get a little bit tougher. And once he got to that point, it was really, really entertaining to watch him come up through the field. A great effort there for him in that drive. But that's kind of going to go ahead and do things for us here for the weekly series, at least for this week. And some things to look forward to for you guys as we go ahead and look ahead, because racing is not over. Things are still going to be going on, and this is the schedule that you guys can look forward to for the rest of the year, or at least until week 15, because there is plenty more racing beyond that, 10 more races to be exact, even past that. But this is our first half of the season, and we just got through here with Hickory here tonight, here week 5, won by Justin Brooks, a phenomenal drive. And next week we go to, again, another new track for the series. We've got several new tracks here that we're kind of trying to throw into the mix here in the weekly series. And Kern County is going to kind of be the second of those past Concord. Going to have a 150-lap event there next week, next Thursday night, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live. Do not miss it. After that, we're heading to Five Flags for the first time since the last year. And then our second crown jewel event of the year, the Oxford 250. That's going to be a phenomenal race. Now, you guys see that Roval race there. Unfortunately, at least for me, I felt like it was a little bit of a stab in the back. We got rid of the Roval. I thought it was a great race last year. Some thought otherwise, but it's okay. We are no longer racing at the Roval for breast cancer awareness race. It is now going to be at IRP, which we are still hopeful is going to put on an absolutely phenomenal event. And then week 10 is going to be that big shakeup. We're basically plate racing with late model stocks. That's going to be super fun. They're at the 1.5 mile oval at Charlotte Motor Speedway. That's going to be a night race, 100 laps. It's going to be crazy. You should just be there to watch it because it's something unreal. You basically just have to see it to get it. After that week, we head to New Smyrna for a 150-lapper. South Boston Twins, those should be and will be on the same night. Then we'll head to Richmond, which put on phenomenal races last season. And then the 15th week will be yet another crown jewel, the third crown jewel of the season, with basically what is going to be Slinger Nats for a 200-lap event, possibly featuring some heat racing. Same for the Oxford 250. So those are going to be some really fun and different events for you guys to kind of look forward to in the coming season. But with that being said, that's kind of going to go ahead and wrap things up here after a phenomenal night of racing at Hickory. We thank you all so much for tuning in to the LMS Weekly Series, because without these drivers and without you all watching along, we don't have a reason to do this. It means so much. As always, make sure to check out the Eric Jones Foundation. Donate to them if you feel inclined. They do a lot of great work. We are not directly affiliated with the Eric Jones Foundation, but we are just using this platform to kind of put their name out there and broadcast things kind of for them, just because they do a lot of great things for a great cause. And also because our league owner is a ridiculously large Eric Jones fan, but you didn't hear it from me. Anywho, that is going to wrap things up from Hickory. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Murphy. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here on the YouTube channel, and we will see you guys back here same time next week, Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern from Kern County Raceway Park. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you then.